What is Ethereum and how is it different from Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin is a blockchain that's designed for one application, right? Which is like maintaining and letting people use Bitcoin, the currency. Ethereum is a general purpose blockchain. So instead of being a blockchain that's designed for one application, Ethereum is a blockchain that supports a built-in programming language, and whatever blockchain application you want to build, you can just write the logic of that application in the programming language, upload that program to the chain, and this becomes what we call a smart contract, and anyone can then interact with your application, and the blockchain interprets the rules of your application for you. So instead of being something that's designed to do one thing, it's designed to open up space for creativity to basically let people do whatever thing that they want to do on top of it.
So is the idea then that the next Facebook or Twitter would not be owned by Jack Dorsey or Mark Zuckerberg, but be built on the blockchain and owned by everyone?
There are multiple projects already trying to do that, and lots of them are based on Ethereum, so yes.
Ethereum has had some growing pains, whether it is high transaction costs, traffic jams, front running. Why do these problems exist?
This is the scalability problem. Everyone's been talking about the scalability problem for at least 5 years now. Basically, it's like a simple supply and demand problem, right? Like if the number of people who want to send transactions goes up, but the amount of space for transactions on chain doesn't go up, then all of these people who want to send transactions are bidding against each other, and only the ones that are willing to pay a really high amount can actually get in. The only way to solve this is to just improve the technology to increase the number of transactions that the system can process. It's why we've been doing just all kinds of incremental improvements to the blockchain clients and the protocol and the code over the last 5 years. Ethereum scalability has increased by about a factor of 5 since the project started. And then there are some problems that are not like just scaling problems per se, but they're still technology problems, right? Like there are problems that have to do with the fact that like this entire ecosystem has blown up and gotten big fairly quickly. There's a lot of aspects of it where people are still trying to understand like what is the correct way and what is the safest way to do these things. Right? Like for example, the state of just security auditing for blockchain protocols. Like it has gotten much better since the DAO hack back in 2016. Right, but at the same time, challenges continue to exist, and that's normal in any space when you have I guess usage growing faster, and then the technology catches up.
Can you contrast proof of stake with proof of work? Why do you think that's so much better?
The reason why blockchains need to have proof of something, right, is because like these are decentralized systems. So for example, in proof of work, like the system actually measures how much computing power is being put into each block. And so in order for an attacker to take over the network, they actually have to have more computing power than the rest of the network combined, right? Like, so you can't just spin up a billion virtual machines on one computer, but the problem is that it requires a huge number of computers to be constantly running 24/7. So it works, but it's very expensive. Proof of stake, it works differently, right? So proof of stake works by instead using coins as the economic resource. So if you have coins inside of the system, then you just sign messages with those coins. And for an attacker to take over, they have to basically have like more coins than the rest of the network put together. So it does the same thing, but it avoids the need to have these computers running 24/7, and that's where the efficiency comes from.
You're planning major upgrades, meantime, and ETH 2.0 is well underway. What will that accomplish? What problems will it solve?
So I think what people call ETH 2.0 has two big parts, right? One big part is the switch to proof of stake. So after a full transition to proof of stake, there will not be any more mining. Ethereum's energy consumption will go down by like a factor of more than 1,000. So it'll go from being a big problem to basically not a problem at all. And the chain will become more secure, it'll become more efficient. So after that, the next major milestone is what's called the merge. which is when basically the proof of work chain just stops running, and all of the applications on the proof of work chain get moved over to the proof of stake chain and continue running inside of the proof of stake chain from there.
Right now, it is mostly finance apps that are built on Ethereum, aside from NFTs. And I'm wondering, what is the killer app for Ethereum that could lead to widespread adoption, much like email was for the internet?
I think there's a few candidates. So DeFi is obviously one of them. I think the blockchain-based financial things have always been attractive because the traditional financial system just sucks more than traditional centralized tech, right? Like, if I send an email to someone in Guatemala, then they're going to receive it in 1 second. With finance, you can't even say that. A lot of people and companies even today just use cryptocurrency to send money internationally. Outside of finance, think one interesting area where I think blockchains might go. You notice that in order to access your assets in Ethereum, you need to have an account. We're getting to the point where there's a lot of work that's been done on making these accounts very secure. And so instead of just being accounts that hold money, like these turn into like fully blown profiles, right? And once you have profiles, then you can start doing decentralized social media on top of that. The social and financial things that you can do with that, like even working together, is something that I think could be really big.
Jack Dorsey recently announced Square is creating a new business focused on decentralized financial services based on Bitcoin, using Bitcoin. What have you learned about Jack Dorsey's plans? Does it seem like he's building something that sounds a lot like Ethereum?
I'm skeptical about these decentralized finance on top of Bitcoin type of projects. Basically because the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? This is that on Ethereum, there's native functionality that allows you to essentially directly put either ETH or Ethereum-based assets into these smart contracts, into these lockboxes, where there's then arbitrary conditions of any kind that can then govern how those assets get released. Bitcoin does not have that functionality to the same extent. Jack is basically going to have to essentially create his own system that enforces those rules, and then on the Bitcoin layer, the Bitcoins will just have to be owned by probably a multi-sig wallet controlled by either Jack or the participants in the system. It looks similar, but it'll end up being something with a much weaker trust model, right? I really think that this is the whole reason why Ethereum started as an independent system in the first place, right? There's technical limits to your ability to kind of graft new functionality onto a system that's not powerful enough to support that new functionality.
So Ethereum in 5 years and 10 years, where is it?
Hopefully running the metaverse, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
You've got a lot of people out there, a lot of people who are trying to understand cryptocurrency, who are placing their bets. What's your prediction for Bitcoin? Does it replace the dollar? Does it exist in 50 years, or is it something else? And then similarly, what's your prediction for Ethereum? Because a lot of investors are choosing to hold both, or one or the other.
I think replacing the dollar completely is unlikely, just because there's things that the dollar provides, like price stability, for example, that Bitcoin is not going to provide. I think even in a theoretical world where the US dollar collapses, even then, I think Bitcoin is not going to be able to provide the level of stability that users and businesses expect to be able to set prices in. And in that kind of world, we would need something else. It could be decentralized stable coins, it could be something else, but we'll see. But at the same time, I think cryptocurrency can still have a very powerful and important role alongside existing currencies.